In the winter of 1993, a remote Arctic research station became the epicenter of a mystery that would haunt the scientific community for decades. Known now as the Polar Ice Anomaly, the event began with a series of inexplicable disturbances, strange noises echoing across the frozen tundra, and sudden, unexplained power failures that left researchers isolated in the darkness. Official reports were scarce, and those who survived spoke in hushed tones, their accounts tinged with fear and disbelief. Authorities struggled to make sense of the evidence, but the facts remained elusive, buried beneath layers of ice and secrecy. To this day, the true nature of what happened remains unresolved, casting a long, cold shadow over the region. Tonight, we revisit the chilling details of a case that continues to defy explanation. What happened beneath the endless Arctic night, and why does no one dare to return? Nestled deep within the frozen expanse of northern Greenland, the research outpost stood alone against a backdrop of endless night. Here, the sun had vanished for months, leaving the station shrouded in perpetual darkness. The cold was relentless, seeping through steel and bone, while the wind howled across the barren ice fields. Yet it was the silence that unsettled even the most seasoned scientists. A silence so profound, it seemed to swallow every sound, every breath. Archive footage reveals frostbitten windows and empty corridors, illuminated only by the flicker of emergency lamps. In interviews, crew members recall the oppressive quiet, broken only by the distant groan of shifting ice. What they did not know was that something else was listening, hidden within the shadows, waiting for the darkness to deepen. In the winter of 2019, a team of scientists from 5 nations converged on the remote polar cap, drawn by a series of anomalies that defied conventional explanation. Their mission was clear: investigate the sudden, violent shifts in the ice and the strange electromagnetic pulses detected deep beneath the frozen surface. Satellite data had revealed patterns that seemed almost deliberate, as if something beneath the ice was trying to communicate. The researchers, equipped with cutting-edge instruments and decades of expertise, expected harsh conditions and unpredictable weather. What they did not anticipate were the subtle, unnerving changes in their equipment and the persistent sense that they were being watched. As the days grew colder and the nights stretched longer, the line between scientific inquiry and something far more sinister began to blur. What exactly was hidden beneath the polar cap, and why did the ice seem to move in response to their presence? The investigation began with a team of seasoned researchers, each drawn to the expedition by a personal fascination with the unknown. Dr. Evelyn Hart, a psychologist with a history of studying mass hysteria, had lost a sibling to an unexplained disappearance years prior. Her colleague, forensic specialist Marcus Reed, was haunted by unsolved cases that seemed to defy logic. Supporting them was Sarah Lynn, a local historian whose family had lived in the region for generations and whose childhood was marked by chilling stories whispered after dark. Together, they were joined by a small support staff, quiet, methodical, and each harboring their own secrets. Interviews reveal a mix of skepticism and quiet dread, as every member admits to feeling a strange compulsion to uncover the truth behind the town's sinister reputation. What none of them could have anticipated was how quickly the line between folklore and reality would begin to blur. It began quietly, almost imperceptibly. The first reports came from the night shift, who described hearing low, mournful sounds drifting across the frozen landscape, echoes that seemed to move with purpose, yet had no identifiable source. Soon after, the station's equipment started to fail in ways that defied logic. Radios crackled with static, generators sputtered, and surveillance cameras flickered out, one by one. Veteran staff dismissed these events as quirks of the harsh environment, but a growing sense of unease settled over the team. In interviews, Several members recalled feeling watched, even when alone in the empty corridors. The official logs note these incidents as technical anomalies, yet the frequency and timing suggest something far more deliberate. What force could be manipulating both the environment and the minds of those stationed here? The answer, at this stage, remained chillingly out of reach. Dr. Lena Morozov, the lead glaciologist, recalls the mounting unease that crept through her team as the days wore on. In her interview, she describes a peculiar sensation, an almost physical presence lurking just beyond the reach of their lanterns, as if unseen eyes tracked their every movement across the frozen expanse. The scientists, seasoned by years in remote environments, found themselves glancing over their shoulders, whispering about shadows that seemed to shift in the periphery. Dr. Morozov notes that even the silence felt heavier, pressing in from the ice and darkness. Their instruments registered nothing unusual, yet the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each passing night. Was it simply the isolation, or something far more sinister beneath the glacier's surface? The team would soon discover that some questions are better left unanswered. The grainy security footage, recovered from the town's abandoned hospital, reveals corridors shrouded in silence and darkness. At first glance, the halls appear empty, untouched by time or presence. But as investigators studied the tapes, subtle flickers of movement emerged in the shadows. Brief, almost imperceptible shapes that seemed to dart just beyond the reach of the camera's lens. These anomalies were dismissed by some as technical glitches, yet others insisted the footage captured something far more sinister. Late-night staff recalled hearing faint footsteps echoing through the empty wings, followed by a chilling sense of being watched. No explanation was ever found for the disturbances, and the tapes remain locked away, their secrets unresolved. What or who was moving in those shadows? On the evening of November 12th, Eric Dahl, a junior technician at the remote station, was assigned a routine maintenance check along the perimeter fence. According to official records, Eric radioed in at 7:18 p.m., confirming all systems were operational. That was the last anyone heard from him. When he failed to return by nightfall, a search party was dispatched, combing the frostbitten grounds under flickering floodlights. They found only his flashlight, lying in the snow, its beam pointing toward the dense woods beyond. No footprints led away from the site. The police report notes an unsettling silence that seemed to swallow all sound that night. What happened to Eric Dahl remains a chilling mystery, one that would mark the beginning of a series of unexplained disappearances. In the frozen silence, the search for Eric became a desperate race against time. One surviving team member, voice trembling, described how the group fanned out across the desolate expanse, calling Eric's name into the biting wind. Hours passed, marked only by the crunch of boots and the distant echo of their own voices. Then, near a jagged fissure in the ice, they found Eric's parka, ripped and dusted with frost, lying as if discarded in haste. The team member recalled the chilling realization that there were no footprints leading away from the spot, only the deep, unnatural silence that seemed to swallow their cries. The fissure itself gaped open, impossibly dark, as if inviting them to peer into something they were never meant to see. What happened to Eric in those final moments remains a mystery, one that continues to haunt those who survived. Beneath the endless stretch of midnight sky, the abandoned ice fields lie silent and untouched, their frozen expanse shimmering beneath the pale glow of the aurora. The wind howls relentlessly, weaving through jagged shards of ice and echoing across the emptiness, a mournful sound that chills even the bravest souls. Shadows dance along the snow, cast by flickering ribbons of green and violet light overhead, painting the landscape in eerie, shifting hues. Each breath hangs in the air, visible and fragile, as if the world itself is holding its silence. Here, isolation is absolute. No footprints, no voices, only the relentless wind and the spectral glow. It is a place where time seems suspended and where the darkness feels impossibly deep. Yet, somewhere beyond the reach of the aurora's light, something unseen stirs, waiting in the cold. What secrets does this frozen wasteland conceal beneath its shimmering surface? Late one winter night, the seismic sensors beneath the station registered a series of deep, rhythmic vibrations. The pattern was unlike anything previously recorded. Neither earthquake nor machinery could account for the precise intervals and haunting regularity. Technicians described the sound as a distant heartbeat, echoing through the frozen ground. Archived audio reveals a low, pulsing thrum, growing steadily louder before fading into silence. Local authorities dismissed the anomaly as a technical glitch, but geologists insisted the readings were authentic. In interviews, station workers recalled an uneasy feeling, as if something ancient and unseen was stirring beneath their feet. To this day, no scientific explanation has been found for the event. What lies beneath the ice, waiting to be discovered? In a dimly lit office, station engineer Mark Delaney recalls the first time the vibrations rattled the floor beneath his boots. At first, the team attributed the tremors to faulty machinery or shifting pipes, mundane explanations that offered a fragile sense of control. But as the nights grew colder and the vibrations intensified, rational theories began to unravel. Delaney describes how tools would tremble off workbenches, and the air itself seemed to hum with a low, unplaceable frequency. Fear crept in quietly, settling over the crew like a heavy blanket. Some whispered about old mining tunnels, others about things best left undisturbed. Delaney's voice falters as he admits, "It felt like something down there was waking up." What, or who, could be stirring beneath their feet remains a question no one dares answer. On the night of January 14th, as a relentless blizzard swept through the town, Dr. Kimura was last seen leaving the hospital after a late shift. The next morning, police discovered a trail of blood winding through the snow, leading to the edge of the abandoned quarry. At the end of this crimson path lay a single leather glove, Dr. Kimura's, confirmed by her colleagues. No footprints, no signs of struggle, only the eerie silence of winter and the chilling evidence left behind. Eyewitnesses reported hearing muffled cries, quickly swallowed by the howling wind. The official report lists her as missing, but investigators remain haunted by the inexplicable details. What could have happened in those final moments, and who, or what, was waiting in the storm? Among the scattered belongings recovered from Dr. Kimura's abandoned research station, investigators found a battered journal. Its pages, yellowed and brittle, were filled with hurried cryptic notes. Dr. Kimura wrote of voices in the ice, describing how, late at night, he would hear faint whispers echoing beneath the frozen surface. He recounted vivid dreams, nightmares of sinking into endless black water, unable to breathe, surrounded by unseen figures. The handwriting grew increasingly erratic, as if the author was racing against something unseen. These entries would become a chilling focal point for police, who questioned whether Dr. Kimura's descent into paranoia was driven by isolation or something far more sinister lurking in the cold. To this day, no one can explain the origin of the voices or why the dreams seemed to intensify just before his disappearance. In the dim light of a remote Arctic outpost, we met with Nuka, a seasoned Inuit guide whose family has lived on these frozen lands for generations. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed a lingering unease as she spoke of ancient spirits said to wander the polar wastes. According to local legend, there are places where the ice itself is alive, shifting and whispering in ways that defy explanation. Nuka recalled stories passed down through her elders, tales of travelers vanishing without a trace, and of strange figures glimpsed at the edge of blizzards. She warned us never to linger near certain crevasses after nightfall, where the wind carries voices that do not belong to the living. As she finished, the silence seemed to thicken, as if the land itself was listening. What secrets lie beneath the endless white, waiting to be uncovered? As days slipped into nights, the team's sense of reality began to unravel. Paranoia crept in quietly at first, manifesting in suspicious glances and whispered accusations. Sleep became a rare commodity, with insomnia gnawing at their nerves and leaving them raw, vulnerable. Eyewitness accounts describe shadowy figures lurking just beyond the reach of their lanterns, and voices echoing in the empty corridors, voices that no one else could hear. Hallucinations blurred the line between nightmare and waking life, sowing confusion and fear. Trust, once their strongest lifeline, fractured under the weight of suspicion. Each survivor became an island, isolated and uncertain, as something unseen tightened its grip. What exactly was feeding on their minds, and would any of them escape its influence? In the winter of 2017, a seasoned researcher ventured onto the frozen lake at dusk, documenting environmental changes for a local university. As the wind howled across the desolate expanse, she noticed a pale, elongated shape gliding silently beneath the ice. The figure's features, glimpsed through the frosted surface, were warped and grotesque. Eyes too large, mouth twisted in an unnatural grin. She described a sensation of being watched, a cold dread settling in her bones. Her camera malfunctioned, leaving only her shaken testimony. Later, investigators found deep scratches on the underside of the ice, as if something had tried to claw its way out. To this day, no one can explain what she saw or why the lake remains eerily silent after sundown. On the night of November 12th, the station fell eerily silent. All radio contact with the outside world was abruptly severed, leaving the crew isolated and unnerved. Within minutes, the backup generators, tested weekly and deemed reliable, failed without warning, plunging every corridor and room into suffocating darkness. Eyewitnesses recall the unnatural quiet, broken only by the distant creak of metal and the frantic whispers of those trapped inside. Police reports later noted that no technical explanation could account for the simultaneous failures. In the pitch-black halls, some claimed to hear faint, distorted voices echoing from the static of dead radios. What happened in those lost hours remains a chilling mystery, one that investigators have yet to unravel. In the dim light of the evidence room, investigators unearthed a battered cassette, its label smeared and nearly illegible. When played, the tape revealed a chilling group transmission, voices overlapping, trembling with fear, barely audible beneath a blanket of static. The whispers spoke of something moving in the darkness, something they could not see but felt closing in. One voice, more frantic than the rest, pleaded for help, while another urged silence, as if afraid the sound itself might draw attention. The recording ended abruptly, leaving only the hiss of empty tape. Experts later confirmed the authenticity of the cassette, but the identities of those recorded remain unknown. To this day, no one can explain what happened in those final moments, or why the transmission was never completed. Weeks after the initial distress call, the rescue team finally reached the remote station. What they found was chilling. The entire facility was deserted, eerily silent, except for the wind rattling broken glass. Scattered debris and overturned furniture bore witness to a violent struggle, as if something had erupted from within. Most disturbing were the cryptic symbols carved deep into the walls, patterns no one could decipher, etched with frantic precision. The official police report noted the absence of blood, yet the overwhelming sense of panic lingered in every room. Archive photos reveal these markings, stark against peeling paint, hinting at a message meant for those who would come after. To this day, investigators remain haunted by a single, unanswered question: who or what left those symbols behind? When the rescue team first entered the abandoned outpost, they were met with an unnatural chill that seemed to seep through their gear, biting at their skin. One member, seasoned and unshaken by previous missions, described a suffocating sense of dread that pressed down on the group, making each breath feel heavy and labored. The air was thick, almost electric, as if something unseen watched from the shadows. In his own words, the silence was so absolute that even their footsteps sounded foreign, echoing in a way that defied logic. Archive footage shows frost clinging to the walls, despite the heating systems having been left on. The rescue team's radios crackled with static, and several members reported fleeting glimpses of movement just beyond the reach of their flashlights. To this day, the source of the cold and the terror remains unexplained. Forensic teams arrived at the scene just before dawn, their breath visible in the cold, stagnant air. Near the jagged fissure, they discovered traces of an organic substance, sticky, dark, and unlike anything cataloged in their databases. Samples were sent to multiple laboratories, yet every expert who examined them was left perplexed. The material did not match any known plant, animal, or microbial life. In confidential interviews, forensic analysts admitted to feeling uneasy, as if the substance itself resisted scrutiny. Police reports noted that equipment malfunctioned when brought close to the sample, and several investigators later complained of vivid nightmares. What could have left such a mark, and why does it seem to defy the very laws of nature? In the weeks after the disappearances, the frozen lake became a place of whispered dread. Local hunter Samuel Griggs, a man known for his stoic silence, broke years of habit to speak with investigators. He described seeing pale, flickering lights gliding across the ice late at night, lights that moved with an unnatural rhythm, never quite touching the surface. Griggs insisted he was sober, and that the lights seemed to vanish whenever he tried to approach. His account was dismissed by some as the product of stress or imagination, but others in the town quietly admitted to seeing similar phenomena. Were these spectral illuminations merely tricks of moonlight, or something far more sinister? The truth, for now, remains shrouded in the cold darkness, waiting to be revealed. In the weeks that followed, the once busy train station became a silent monument to unanswered questions. Official statements offered little comfort, and the investigation was quietly closed, its files sealed away from public scrutiny. Families of the missing gathered in hushed circles, clutching faded photographs and searching for meaning in the silence that now haunted the town. Eyewitnesses who once spoke freely grew hesitant, their accounts dismissed as unreliable or too disturbing to pursue. The station's windows were boarded up and its doors chained, but the sense of unease lingered long after the authorities had left. Even now, locals avoid the area, whispering about strange noises echoing from the shadows. What truly happened that night remains a mystery, and the truth, if it exists, is buried deeper than anyone dares to dig. In the dimly lit kitchen of a weathered farmhouse, we meet Clara, the sister of the missing researcher. Her voice trembles with a mixture of anger and exhaustion as she recounts the endless nights spent waiting for answers that never come. She describes the frustration of dealing with authorities who, she claims, seem evasive and unwilling to share crucial details. Rumors of a cover-up swirl through the town, feeding her suspicion that something far more sinister lies beneath the official story. Clara recalls overhearing hushed conversations and noticing strangers watching her home from parked cars late at night. The uncertainty gnaws at her, leaving her trapped between hope and dread. As she gazes out the window into the silent darkness, one question remains: what are they hiding? Deep within the restricted archives, a series of classified government documents reveal chilling details. These files, marked with faded stamps and cryptic annotations, point to a disturbing pattern. Similar incidents have occurred in other remote polar regions. The reports, often redacted and incomplete, reference unexplained disappearances, sudden outbreaks of hysteria, and sightings of figures with unnatural frozen smiles. Despite mounting evidence, officials have consistently denied any connection between these cases, dismissing them as isolated events. Yet, the consistency of the phenomena across continents raises unsettling questions. What are authorities trying to hide, and why do these incidents seem to follow the same sinister blueprint? As we examine these documents, the silence from those in power becomes more deafening, leaving us to wonder what truly lurks beneath the ice. Leading psychologists were brought in to examine the effects of prolonged isolation and relentless darkness on the residents of the town. They spoke of the mind's tendency to fracture under such conditions, describing vivid hallucinations, paranoia, and a gradual blurring of reality. Yet, as they pored over police reports and listened to the trembling voices of survivors, a troubling consensus emerged. Some incidents simply defied clinical explanation, accounts of figures glimpsed in the periphery, voices echoing from empty rooms, and a chilling sense of being watched. One expert, her voice barely above a whisper, admitted, "There are things here that science cannot account for." As the investigation deepened, the line between psychological trauma and something far more sinister grew increasingly thin. What, then, was truly haunting the town? The darkness outside, or something lurking within it? In a rare moment of vulnerability, Dr. Morozov agreed to speak with us from her isolated retreat in the northern woods. Her voice was measured, but the tremor beneath each word betrayed a lingering fear. She described a nightmare that has haunted her since the incident, a vision of herself trapped beneath a thick sheet of ice, the world above distorted and unreachable. In the dream, she tries to scream, but the sound is swallowed by the cold, suffocating silence. She recalls the sensation of something moving just beyond her field of vision, a shadow gliding across the frozen surface. Dr. Morozov confesses that, even awake, she sometimes feels the chill of that nightmare pressing in. What, if anything, waits beneath the ice remains a question she cannot answer. Despite exhaustive investigations and countless hours spent analyzing the evidence, many questions remain unanswered. The strange symbols carved into the ice, the inexplicable radio interference, and the sudden disappearances of seasoned researchers all point to a presence that defies rational explanation. Eyewitnesses describe fleeting shadows and whispers carried by the polar wind, details dismissed in official reports, yet impossible to ignore. Police files remain open, their pages marked by uncertainty and fear. As the midnight sun casts long, unnatural shadows across the frozen landscape, one chilling possibility lingers. Something ancient, patient, and unseen may still be waiting beneath the polar cap. The truth, it seems, is buried deeper than the ice itself. And for now, the silence endures. To this day, the Polar Ice Anomaly stands as an unresolved mystery, its chilling details preserved beneath layers of frost and silence. Investigators, scientists, and locals alike have all failed to uncover the full truth, each theory dissolving into the cold Arctic darkness. The official case files remain open, marked only by unanswered questions and the haunting testimonies of those who witnessed the impossible. In the quiet hours, whispers of what transpired echo through abandoned research stations and empty villages, fueling a folklore that grows more sinister with each retelling. The endless night of the Arctic conceals more than just ice. It harbors secrets that may never thaw. What happened out there in the frozen void remains a question that chills even the bravest souls. And as the winds howl across the desolate tundra, one cannot help but wonder, will the truth ever emerge from the ice?